Free, prior, and informed consent is important because it is part of our right to self-determination.
Self-determination to us means that you have control of your own political process, your economy, your culture, and all of these things. And you can't really have control of your life unless you have control, you have consent to all the things that affect you.
It's definitely something that our people, I think, practiced. We just didn't call it that. We just call it a being of a good mind. And being of a good mind means you have those abilities to respect, the courage to face each other's differences and to recognize those differences.
Under Cree law, we have a trapline system in the northern Quebec where there's about 310 traplines, and there's one boss per trapline. He's the tallyman. He determines who comes in his territory to get what, for how long, and so on and so forth. So that permission requested to the tallyman or the chief hunter is already incorporated in Cree law. So I think the parallel with free, prior, and informed consent is pretty easy to make.
Canadian courts refer to it as consent, but usually consent, the meaning is it's got to be free. There can't be duress. And it has to be informed, because how can anyone give valid consent if they're not first informed about what they're consenting to? When
you consider the right to free, prior, and informed consent, well, you also have to consider the rights of others that are at stake, and especially the human rights of others. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission certainly recommends that the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples be the framework for reconciliation in this country. The minimum standard of the UN Declaration is a duty of states to consult and cooperate. It's not just consult. And what is cooperation? Cooperation means that the other party agrees with what you're suggesting.
Canadians are inundated with messaging that suggests that free, prior, and informed consent is a veto, and that there really shouldn't be free, prior, and informed consent. What I think most Canadians really need to know is that if there isn't any free, prior, and informed consent, and if that's not acceptable, there really are no Indigenous rights. And it really is that simple. The reason why is because if First Nations can't determine how to exercise their own rights, a lot of the cultures that underpin those rights are slowly going to fade until there's nothing left. So denying free, prior, and informed consent and denying self-determination to First Nations, particularly in terms of how they form their relationships to their own lands, territories, and resources, will ultimately lead to the denial of the existence of the peoples themselves.
It's not just about policies and programs. It's really about living.
Now we have a chance for substantive discussion, real engagement.
We have a federal government that's made a commitment to reconciliation, that's made a commitment to the UN Declaration, which I think is really important. And I think that we have, maybe for the first time ever, a Canadian population that seems to have tuned into some of these issues because of the tremendous work done by the Truth and Reconciliation Commission.
As Indigenous people, we have to say, no, this is our process. This is our right. This is our right to self-determination.
Get the useful information, educate yourself, go deeper than the rhetoric.